Peace to the family. Peace to the family. What's going on? What's going on? I'm here to talk about sex, relationships, and psychology. What's going on? As people file in, please sign up for the throat chakra class that's going on November 28th. The links are in my bio. Shout out, man. Shout out y'all, man. What's up, Amar? How you been, fam? Family out in Cali holding it down. We worldwide, you feel me? Young King, how you feeling, bro? What's the business? What dark serpent in this bitch? What's good? What's good? What's good? So I need somebody to bounce some ideas off of, because if I just do it don't make sense. Dark serpent, put on some clothes. Dark serpent, put on some clothes.
Yo,
What's good?
what's good, family?
Nothing much, man. Just trying to put some content out for the family, give them some good game on this Instagram. Everybody talking about this damn election. I'm like, fuck the election.
What
Let's
election?
talk about something else. Who gi-
What election?
who gives a fuck,
Right?
right? When was the last
That
time you
shit makes
cared
sense,
about
man.
a 77-year-old Caucasian man? Now, come on, now we know what that's about.
I, I, I can't remember. I can't remember.
Right? You care now. Y'all all of a sudden care about what old Caucasians is doing. Y'all make that make sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I want to bounce some ideas off of you, Serpent Man. I got a download from Pambajira, and
Ooh.
I just want
Ooh.
to make sure that it makes sense. You feel me?
Okay.
You got time? You
Okay.
busy?
Nah, I'm good.
Word. So
Good.
the channel was that people are confusing what it means to be a hoe, or a whore,
Ooh.
or a divine whore,
Ooh.
or a sacred whore. They
Ooh.
think that being a hoe is about sex. And
Mm.
Pambajira was basically saying that a lot of women are deeply confused about what men are interested in, and why a man would, say, pay for sex versus be in a relationship with a woman. And then how, like, a lot of men have secret lives where they have prostitutes on the side, and they wife none the wiser. Yeah, I'm shooting dice. Yeah, I'm playing poker. Yeah, I'm at work. But for real, they be with prostitutes. And what women might think is it's because of the sex. But he can get sex from you. And 10 times out of 10, it's probably good sex. However, why is he still cheating? Why is that dark side still there?
Mm.
So the overall concept was that relationships and getting to know a man and learning a man is reserved for the prostitute.
Mm.
And the
Mm.
prostitute is the master of relationships, because that's what she's selling. She's literally selling love and relationships. She's literally selling, I'll do everything that your wife won't do. Because if it wasn't for marriage, there wouldn't be a market for prostitutes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Most married men, that's their secret life. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you think about a prostitute, you think that she's giving them sex, right? But she's really giving them relationship. It's not, because sex is all about the man and how he's giving it up. Usually
Mm-hmm.
it's the before and after that dictates how a man feels about a woman. You know what I'm saying? When you
Mm-hmm.
love a woman, it's not because she has some whack.
Mm-hmm.
You love the way she treats you. You love the way she understands you. You love the way she cares for you. You love her sincerity,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so a lot of people are kind of backwards with it because now it's a lot of like normal, regular girls diving into this whole culture and they think it's about sex. Sex
Mm-hmm.
sells. No, sex doesn't sell. Light bulbs sell. Oil changes sell.
Mm-hmm.
Shoes sell.
Mm-hmm.
Socks sells. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Makeup
Makeup
sales.
sells. You go outside right now and say I'm offering sex, everybody's riding past you. Ain't nobody
Yep.
trying to buy that from nobody. So sex is like the cherry on top. Sex is a misnomer. Sex is an anomaly. The real thing
Mm-hmm.
is how can a person relate to a man? To which
Mm-hmm.
this is the secret. And a lot of times people want to save their relationships at this particular point. Quarantine done did a doozy on relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
Quarantine has split motherfuckers up, had motherfuckers hating everybody, shadow projecting, and things of that nature because there is no strong sexual and relationship bond. It may have been a sexual thing, it may have been like a, you know, for the kids and whatever, you know what I'm saying? Uh,
Convenience. Convenience.
Convenience, reliability, accountability, availability, all of those types of things. But when it comes to real relationship building, it is in the word commerce. Now, commerce is sex and commerce is also business.
Yes.
But sex isn't up and down stroking.
No.
Commerce in the ancient times, if you said sex was sticking your pee pee in something, they wouldn't know what that concept is because they don't watch porn. Because
Nope.
porn didn't exist. Obviously, sex was an art that had to be taught because you had no examples. Our problem is that our examples of sex, I did a poll, maybe you've seen it on Facebook when I was asking women, have they had any sexual advice from their father? What to do, what not to do? And most of the women
Mm-hmm.
said either no or I didn't have a father, which that would
Mm-hmm.
indicate that at your formative years, you don't have any education on sexual energy, sexual
Mm-hmm.
science, sexual studies. It degrades itself to becoming a thing where it's just strictly pleasure centered. What
Mm-hmm.
feels good, and that has nothing to do with relationships.
What I think what I think we have at play here is a few different kind of concepts. Like one concept one concept that's at play is the average male individual that is so willing to uncover and unearth their most deepest desires and feelings to a whore type of a
A
woman,
stranger, a
and then
stranger.
yes, a stranger, because I don't know, maybe it's the idea of not being or having to be judged by that other individual
One hundred
because you're
percent,
just
one
you're
hundred
just
percent.
in there for one thing, you know what I mean, the physical
But you
aspect.
not though.
And
You in
those
there
same
for a lot of
conversations,
different things though. That's the thing.
but those same aspects, you can't connect the dots to play that at home with your beloved. You know what I'm saying? Like you refuse to have that conversation at home with your beloved for fear of how they're going to view you, or how they're going to treat you, or how they're going to think about you in the future. But that is also your beloved. But you have a pocket full of shit that you're not willing to unearth. So that's one thing that we have at play. The other thing that we have at play is uh, individuals who are not raised by a two family system, meaning man and woman, meaning father and mother. You know what I'm saying? So the women who were not raised in those households that had fathers and mothers, they are missing that masculine divine aspect from their upbringing.
And even if it was
So
there, a lot of men don't feel comfortable with talking to their daughters about sex. So you got to put that
yes,
as a
they
caveat
are
as well.
emotionally detached. They are emotionally detached. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have two girls, and my oldest just a year and a half ago had her first period, and I remember the day it happened because I cried. I don't know why, but I cried.
Hmm.
You dig what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So like, uh, the average individual who is a male raising a young woman, they are emotionally detached because they just throw those responsibilities off to the mother because they feel like
Yes.
that's a girl.
Yes.
The mother should just raise that,
Yes.
and that's not my bag
Yes.
as long as I'm paying the bills,
Facts.
as long as I'm there at the house. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like,
Yes. Yes.
those things are the things that are missing
Yes.
from the female upbringing. So it's easy for the female to always be looking for a father figure in the males that they bring into their lives. And it's easy for the male to always be looking for a female mother type figure in all of the females that they bring into their lives. Because you know, you can have a conversation with your mother and talk about everything under the sun, but you can't have that same.
Depending. I mean, everything has
If you,
variables, and there's exceptions to every
but you
rule.
can't have that same conversation that you would have with your mother, with your significant other.
Or can you? That's where we're getting to the divine relationship aspect. That's the crux of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you
Mm-hmm.
referencing is non-judgment, where a man will pay to not be judged, right? He'll marry a
This.
woman because he loves her, and because I love her, right? Does not mean that she's not going to judge me. I love my wife. But
Mm-hmm.
if I came to the crib tonight, like, this is Cookie, right? And this is Precious, these is my girls, it's going to be emotions and conversations that's going to have. And whether that results into judgment, initially, there's going to be some judgment because that ain't how it's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to roll. And we're not bred that way. Our relationship is not bred that way. And I say all of that to say is that you have to develop an open and honest relationship with your partner if you imagine it to be long term and healthy. You can do anything. You can connect with a guy or connect with a woman for all kind of reasons. But when you talk about a healthy, honest, long-term build that is fulfilling, that is going to make you happy, you're not angry at this person, you don't resent this person, you have to have a sexual scientific background. I know your credit, right? I know your family for a certain extent. I know this high school you went to. I know a lot of things about you. However, your sexual makeup, what makes you orgasm, the value of sexual energy, what happens when you mate with multiple energies, and then you can see it in our culture, right? Like if you go like to the hood and there's like this potential girl, she's doing a lot of things, right? Her name is out there, and because of this, she's like real aggressive and like loud at the store and things like that. Well, it don't just happen like that naturally. Like these things happen because of masculine energy, an abundance of a masculine energy, that the balance of your femininity or the restoration of your relationship has to be the reduction of semen. Now, you can be in a relationship and have this conversation like, I need to recover myself and you need to recover yourself. So we can have sexual practices, but the release of semen shouldn't happen, you know, because when a man releases semen in you, especially over like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, it looks like, man, you guys were so happy. Now you can't stand each other. Well, what happened? That fire is lost, true. But another thing is, a man who unloads semen in a woman is attacking them. That's millions of sperm that's entering into her body. And sperm does not is not a passive motility. Well, some, sperms have different motility, speeds, and things of that nature. However, sperm for the most part is very aggressive. Like I can be a nice guy, but sorry for being graphic, if I ejaculate in you, everything that's within me, my darkness, my light, it begins to attack your body. It wants to latch on. It's a living organism. It doesn't want to die, right? So because of this, the more energy that you take on, now it could be your partner, right? But if y'all sexually active, y'all having sex every single day, and y'all ejaculating in you every single day, you are going to change physiologically, psychologically, emotionally, behaviorally. And 10 times out of 10, if you do not have this knowledge, you will not like it. And then you have no scientific conversation, no sexual conversation. You're just going to hate your partner, dislike your partner, and not have no reason why. Have no reason why. And I've been telling people this because we have 4 children. We have to be really mindful of our sexual practice. And I literally can see the difference in my wife now. Like, I think that I'm making love to her. I think that I love her. I think that I care for her. And I do. But my sperm has a different intention. My sperm has a different intention. So I have to, in a relationship, men in a relationship, if your man in the relationship with you is not practicing sperm retention, he is harming you. He is abusive. Okay? He doesn't he doesn't understand his sexual energy. And most of us don't. Until I've been dealing with the download and processing my past lives and getting into my education and the things that I'm going to speak in the future, I didn't know this either. So I say all of this to say there is a chance for your relationship. You can love again. You can build your relationship up. However, if you do not practice sperm retention within your relationship, every time you have sex with your wife or your significant other, you're ejaculating in her, then your sperm is doing psychological, physiological, mental, emotional damage. And she now depends on you, right? But then we're doing throat chakra work. The throat chakra is very important. So this is what happens in a relationship. This science is what's going down, right? Where we love our wives and we ejaculate in them because we love them, that type of deal, right? Over time. But then she becomes a different energy. She becomes more dependent on you. She's calling you. Where are you at? Right? Before y'all having sex, she didn't call you and ask you where you was at. Why is she now wondering where you at? Why are you talking to her? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Because now she's psychologically dependent on you. And your ego, which you deposited into her, which is based on fear, right? The ego is a fear mechanism. It has fear tendencies that don't want to die. So because of that, it latches on. And so what you have is symbiosis. And the symbiosis that takes place between and sperm in the womb and the uterus is often parasitic. There's only one sperm. Sperm does not carry the intent that I have. Not at all. My sperm does not have my intent. My sperm is my lower self, right? It has one goal. It wants to live. It wants to survive. And the way that my physiological body is, it shoots a wide net. And then sperm is an endocrinic type of it is endocrine. And the more you use it, the more you practice this actual practice of sex, the more your body becomes aligned to that person. And now you're like, I cannot break up with that person, even though it's toxic, even though you're not liking them. And then it's like, well, maybe you can't break up with them, but how do you better the situation? I'll do you one better. If you are in a relationship with your guy and he's really interested into you, he's very horny, he wants to have sex, he wants to get it on, and he's like, girl, you look so good, you're so beautiful, oh my god, you're so I need you right now, I want you right now, right? And he's so insatiable, and that whole time he's having sex with you, right? And then he ejaculates, and that energy is gone, right? And that energy is gone. That means that insatiability, his love for you, his feelings for you is gone. However, if y'all have sex for 10 minutes and stop, that lust, that insatiableness, that fire, it doesn't go away. And this is Tantra. This is sperm retention. You make love, but you do not come. Simple. Unless you want to make a baby. In these days and times, I'm not sure that's a good call. Let this thing even out. You know what I mean? I mean, unless, you feel me? Unless you ready and prepared and fully ready for a baby, then by all means. However, there are so many things that need to take place after sex, hygienically, because millions of sperm is lodged in your uterus. And the longer that they sit there, the more they absorb into your bloodstream. And you do not take on the traits of a man's higher self, you take on the traits of a man's lower self. Because these sperm have just now been produced in the scrotum. They're not mature as I am. It hasn't developed a brain. It doesn't have experience. It's my little babies. Now, little babies boo-boo on themselves. They drool, they cry, they whine, what have you. So the reality is, if I'm going to give you my lower self, I hope that you would produce a lower self. And from that, we can have a baby. However, there still has to be hygiene that takes place. A lot of women don't steam. A lot of men don't steam, which is a travesty because men have a urethra, okay? A man has a urethra. So a man may think, I'm a big boss hog player out here. And sex is nasty. Two ways out of two ways. You either using a condom. And so in your condom, that nanoxynil 9 is going in your urethra, right? And the more you have sex, the more nanoxynil 9 and more of that, them pesticides and latex vibrations is in your urethra. That's nasty, fellas. And you like, well, how do I clean it? How do I get it out? You got to steam just like the women. And then say, for instance, some men, they don't even use condoms. They go in and out raw. You absorbing the bacteria and the cultures in your urethra. And that energy just sits lodged in. And then they might have a relationship with the wife that they feel comfortable, they mainline, right?
Yep. Yep.
Now, the main line is always, yeah, she got the nice car, she got the house, she got the kids, but she the most pissed off because she getting all of the side bitches' energy lodged in her. And it's a big smorgasbord, a cesspool of bacteria that, since we not being educated on it, we think everything is an ego hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
We not doing the due diligence. However, when you talk about what's the thing that everybody got? Urinary tract infections and
HPV.
HPV and genital warts and things of that nature, herpes. They say 3 out of 5 people have herpes. You obviously can see that it's some bacteria that's going down. But I think I'm saying this for the men because men don't think that we absorb bacteria. We think that we can't be imprinted on. Now, if a woman,
I don't think
go ahead.
I don't think that they don't think they don't absorb it. I think that they don't care.
No, I don't think that yeah, that, and then they don't think that they receiving energy from a woman, but you receiving energy because you got an opening. Your urethra is an opening. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever energy that woman is holding, right? Because now you changing, right? You more susceptible to her text messages, right? A stranger say come over
Mm-hmm.
right now, you like get the fuck out of here. But somebody you just had sexual relationships with, tagging your line, pulling on your energy, now you more susceptible to do things that you wouldn't normally do because you absorbed her
Mm-hmm.
energy. So I'm saying all of this to say that sexual education is vital for your spiritual success. And I'm only speaking through experience because you may be in a relationship and your relationship is all that matters when you win it. The success of it. You want that thing to work. But I tell you, family, if there's sloppy ejaculation practices, it's not going to work because the man's lust dissipates and you become angry at the man for ejaculating in you. And the reason that I say this is because there are so many broken relationships out here, and the rules are very simple, and the rules are being broke. Anybody in a relationship can say, yeah, that's right and exact. Man, maybe the details, they say, well, no, he cheated on me. They say, well, no, he left me or she left me or she cheated or I couldn't take it no more. But the fact is there was ejaculation and there wasn't no real knowledge. And another thing, men think that ejaculation is orgasm and it isn't. We need to learn ejaculation. And the way that we ejaculate is to engage in sexual activities without ejaculating. The same way we eat every day, right? It's saliva in our mouths. I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking to you, I'm eating. Never once do I think, hey man, why don't I just start drooling right now? Fuck it. Fuck it. I'm gonna just start drooling. I mean, I got
Yeah.
saliva and it's kind of relaxing too. It's kind of warm on my chest, right? It's easy
Mm-hmm.
to just not swallow spit every 5 seconds. Just say fuck it. Just start drooling, right? You wouldn't do that because you're a respectable fucking person. You're a fucking adult. So
Yep.
sexually, we need to become adults. And I'm speaking to the men right
Mm-hmm.
now. A lot of women may feel like I don't like this conversation and this conversation ain't for me and it ain't. I'm not trying to trigger you or make you mad, but the men on here know what I'm talking about. Facts or not. Even if we not leaving,
Absolutely. That's right and
even if we
exact.
not living up to them standards, we know what I'm talking about. Oh, skeet, skeet, skeet ain't right and exact. And I didn't know that.
Nah, I didn't either. It took me some years to figure that out. But I think since you bringing up the energy aspect of it, we also need to talk about angry sex. We also need to talk about, you know, when that transfer happens, right? You talking about the ejaculation, when you talking about the man nutting in his woman. You know what I'm saying? When y'all do that shit angrily, right? when y'all do that shit and y'all really not feeling each other and you just want to get something off, right?
Mm.
We need to speak to that. Could you speak to that, big homie?
Well, we need to digress and reduce it to what we call sex is generally two human beings masturbating in front of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Exactly.
yeah, so the reality of masturbation is a need for a thing that you don't have. And since you don't have it and nobody's around, nobody can see you, you like, fuck it. I'm going to get this one off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, sex is the same way. This is why in secret society, I'll get to your point, but this is why in secret societies, they have sexual orgies. Because
Mm-hmm.
if I can have sex in front of you, I no longer have an ego and I know have a block and my portal is now open.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore the magic can consist. Now, if you think about it in a way of what's up, bro? If you think about it in a way of magic and thought, then you understand that everything has to be right and exact when you do a ritual, meaning that you have to literally have sex for it to pop off, because
Mm-hmm.
sex is magic and magic is sex and God is sex and sex is God. Now, sex, not masturbation. Now, the sex that we collectively have been taught it through porn. Now,
Mm-hmm.
sexual practices continuously, perpetually, lifetime after lifetime without education have now got the ancestors. The ancestors have gnosis. Now the gnosis is now they pissed off and now they're trying to shoot this energy down because it's necessary now.
Mm-hmm.
Because generationally, like it's old men. You ain't never so old men, they have a sexual style. Very rough, very aggressive, very hard, very
Mm-hmm.
long. That's how
Quick to the point.
quick to the point or over and over repetitive. Like this is why young women like older men because they sexual is very aggressive and very strong, right? It like because they ain't get no GMOs, they ain't get no saltpeter. They diet is different. They a different type of strong, right?
Yeah, and the older person would be more perverse to longer spouts with foreplay, so to speak,
Right. Or lack of it. Like
or lack of
these
it.
old dudes is straight out the caveman area, right? But that's what the women like because it's like a educational lapse of what sex is. It's like a man, if you don't tell him about his sexual energy, he'll fuck a cow,
Mm-hmm.
he'll fuck a pig, he'll fuck anything.
Yep.
Because if we're not taught, we don't know. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
men suffer from that. I thought it was just me, but I realized a lot of men just follow what they learn. So I say all of
Mm-hmm.
that to say generations of lack of gnosis through sexual processes has created an anger vibration. So I'll do you one better. In 95, if I was to say, I'm going to have sex with this woman and I'm going to choke the shit out of her, I would be locked up, thrown in jail for being a pervert. What do you mean you're going to choke a
Mm-hmm.
woman? Fast forward, 2020 is normal sex. Choke me, choke me.
Normal sex
It's
practice.
normal sex practice because generation. It's like gangs, right? At the begin,
Gang gang.
at the beginning, they say we used to we used to knuckle up and we used to fight with bats and things of that nature. Fear or not.
Yeah. Fair.
2020, they pulling out AR. They talking about the chopper. I got the 30 clip. I got the I got the
Mm-hmm.
grenade
Mm-hmm.
launcher.
I put 30 in your face.
So the more baser we get, the more aggressive we become as a culture and as a society. But it's rock bottom at this point. You talking about relationships, and a lot of relationships that's good, a lot of relationships that's spiritual, a lot of things that can change. So that anger creates a solution.
Mm-hmm.
But the anger stems from a lack of information. It's like you can only get mad if you ignorant.
Yeah.
Like if you
Yeah.
told me everything about a situation, I knew the inside and outside, and I peeped the whole shit from a peripheral and observatory point of view, then how the fuck I be mad at it? And I know, oh, here he come from the left side, I'm gonna just block him. You feel me? Oh, I see
Mm-hmm.
him. You feel me? So sex is the same thing. I know that I'm supposed to hold space with a young lady, and maybe 3 to 4 years we should be even mentioning the word sex. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that, but I know that now. So now I don't really care, right? 3 years at minimum, we should be building and conversing, and the mere mention of sex should you should be violated. Like you should feel violated. You feel me? What you mean sex? You know
Mm-hmm.
how important sex is? You know how toxic my sperm is, sis? It's like literally,
Mm-hmm.
it's like literally like, look, I want to drink your poison. Since I love you, I don't want to poison you or hurt you or give you no toxic chemicals. And that's what sperm and
At
semen
all.
is. It's toxic. It's acidic.
Unless it's used for one purpose and one purpose only.
It's for one. It's like bleach. You wouldn't drink bleach.
Yeah.
You wouldn't drink bleach
Nah.
because you thirsty.
So basically what you're saying in a nutshell is niggas is at the bottom floor
It's
right now. Niggas
over.
is at
It's
primitive
over.
niggas is at primitive levels
Caveman.
right now and just don't realize it.
Caveman. And they got it from their
Niggas is
granddaddies.
straight primitive
They
right
got it
now,
from their
straight
granddaddies.
remedial. Like it's almost tantamount to a kid in kindergarten going out and having all the sex that they want. You know what I'm
Not
saying?
even
Like,
kindergarten, because at least once you get into kindergarten, you ain't drooling. It's literally like your 3 year
well,
old.
I can't even say kindergarten because you ain't really getting a boner at that time. You know what I'm
It's
saying? I
like
mean,
it's like you a
dependent,
little you a
dependent.
little child, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Sexually,
yeah.
right? But you got adult mindsets and adult habits and adult aspirations. Like you really want to, and I'll do you one better. It's a class of individuals, right? It's a class of individuals of human beings who are subjugated and ritualistically oppressed through the lack of sexual knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Millions of people
Absolutely, absolutely. So
perpetually. Go ahead.
you have a bunch of adults, so-called adults, right, running around acting like children
Yes.
because the only thing that's motivating them to do anything has its roots and foundations based in primitive understandings of the most primordial thing that exists within this world, which is
Yeah.
creation, right? So, on one hand, you're an adult, but on the other hand, you act like a child because you can't get what you want as an adult, right?
It's your pleasure centers, like my kids right
It's
now.
your, but that's your, that's waist down,
Yeah, that's waste.
right? So you use your head when you choose to, but the other head is the one that motivates you.
And thank you. You brought me back to the whole entire point. This is shadow projection. This is an education in shadow projection. The upside down is the upside down. Like, if I was like,
As above, so
yeah,
below.
I'd be like my head, right? My head. And then I'm like, can I get some head? Right? Same head, two different locations, but it's upside down. We, as a species, it's imperative that we take our lower head and make it our higher head and take our higher head and make it our lower head because our brain is very smart. However, it does not need to lead the show. We don't have to have our thing on thoughts, right? So the paranoia in a relationship comes from sexual relationships. So you build a
Mm-hmm.
foundation with your partner outside of sexual relationships. You build a foundation on top of a foundation on top of a foundation. And once that foundation is cemented and it's strong and it's sturdy and it's birthrights and it's spiritual connection and it's rooted in ritual, then maybe y'all will have sex. But never you think that your sexual energy is that important that you make it your primary objective, because that's poison, that's toxic, that's an attack, right? And we
Mm-hmm.
as a species have been attacking each other for so long, but we don't even get to the root of it. We never talk about
No.
our sexual practices in our intimate relationships because it resorts to us mere masturbating with each other. It's a lot of us that are mere virgins in this thing. Like the concept of sex is orgasmic, and that was a point that I meant to get to previously that I'm just now getting to. Sex is orgasmic. The sex that you
Mm-hmm.
reference, the anger sex, is masturbation, and we need to understand the
Mm-hmm.
two things. Now, that's the way and the modality. However, the science.
But I'll give you a tie into one of your earlier
Go ahead.
points, though. I'll give you a tie into one of your earlier points. Do you know that that is the impetus for the reasoning based on why motherfuckers don't want to be judged by their significant other? You don't want to be judged by your significant other because you want to have sex with whomever and whatever and wherever you want to go. You don't want to be judged for being led by your animal instinct, your animal nature, because society says you're supposed to be with one woman. You got one woman, you take care of that one woman, you take care of your kids, and that's that. But you on the inside is like, shit, this bitch look good, this bitch
See,
look
but see,
good.
that's funny. That's easy for me, right? That's easy for me. It's harder for my wife, right? Because a woman got it 10
Yeah,
times bad. Like it's
but you're the exception to the
no, I'm
rule.
saying no,
You're
no,
the
no, 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 no,
exception to
no,
the
no, no,
rule.
no. I'm saying that it's harder for women because women may want to not even be around the kids. They might wake up like the kids, not today. This food, not today. Breakfast, not today, right? But if they do that,
Mm-hmm.
right, that inner judgment and that inner shame, like maybe ain't nobody tripping, but they feel like I can't let my family down. You feel me? That begins to be the negativity, right? So we
Mm-hmm.
all know men are dogs, and if you don't know men are dogs, you
Mm-hmm.
know now. Like, even
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not in my lower self, I recognize my lower self. And I'm not going to sleep. I'm not
Absolutely.
going to sleep on my lower self and act like no, because I talk about astrology, I'm not. And when I see a big butt, I don't even notice it. Like,
That you exempt.
nah, I don't notice big butts at all, sis. Like, no, nah, I'm not there yet. What I am saying is that you can educate yourself and you can have these discussions on your lower self. And once you do, it dissipates that fire. So I'll do you one better. Where you thought you was so uncontrollable with your sexual urges, if you have a conversation towards that, an honest and open conversation within your relationship, hello,
Yep.
then it
Yep.
changes the dichotomy. It changes the conversation. So where you once thought your man was a horn dog, foreign dog, and couldn't, you know what I'm saying? Because he's secret about it.
Yeah.
Where you think you want to be a hoe and you sliding off with old boy to the, getting your little groove on because you secret about it. So the reality is in how you relate to your partner. So let's backtrack. The
Mm-hmm.
foundational aspect of relationship building is about honesty. So if you're not ready to be honest about your sexual proclivities, leave
You
people
shouldn't be in a relationship.
alone. Leave
You shouldn't be in a
people
fucking
the fuck
relationship, bro.
alone, fam.
That's it, bro. That's it, bro. That's it. Like if you can't be with your shorty and see a bad woman come down the street and acknowledge that bad woman while you with your shorty because you're afraid of how she gonna react because you with her and she insecure or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You insecure about being real about your feelings, whatever. Then you shouldn't be in a fucking
You should have
relationship.
left it alone. You should have
You
left it
should have left it
alone.
alone.
Hey,
That's the crux of what we get into. The
hey,
crux of what we get into is this. You're not supposed to be in a relationship because society says you're supposed to be in a relationship.
facts,
You're supposed to be in a relationship because you're ready to be in a fucking
facts,
relationship. That's it.
facts,
That's it.
and that's why, on the onset, I'd be like, it'd be crazy, bro. This sound crazy what I'm about to say, but I'd be having to tell women, I'm married. I got 5 children. Five. Fuck. Oh shit. I got 4 children. I'm busy. I work a lot, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's fine. I can work around all of that." And then 10 minutes later, well, why you don't call me? Well, you seem
Mm-hmm.
so busy. It is not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's never going to be what you thought it was. Like, that's another thing.
Never.
If you in a
Never.
relationship, the fantasy aspect of it, remove it, because 10 times out of 10 that person has sexual proclivities that don't have nothing to do with you. And if you cannot handle that, leave people alone.
Yeah, and based on society standards and based on how much fucking Netflix and fucking TV you watch and your fucking idea of what a romance is supposed to fucking be, don't come in with these preconceived notions. Like, you can't come in with these preconceived notions. Like, I can't understand the idea or the concept of a person that comes into a relationship never having experienced a real relationship in their whole fucking life with honesty and unconditional fucking love within it. They're gonna tell you how a relationship is supposed to go, but you ain't never experienced it. You ain't got no examples in your fucking everyday walking life. Your dad ain't never been in a straight relationship. Your mom ain't never been in a straight relationship. But you got all the answers for how a straight relationship is supposed to go. But you got this many motherfucking partners. I just don't
I'll
understand it.
tell you why, because people is in a relationship with themselves. They are masturbating. They are into what they think. They have fantasies and preconceived notions. So you mean to tell me the sexual aspect is all about you? So you gonna measure me? How big is your dick? Is your dick okay? Is my dick big enough, sis? Yeah, your dick's big enough. Okay. How much
No.
money you got? All right, here go my bank account statements. You feel me? Okay, you got enough money, right? So these actual standards that you think are what you're waiting for, the reality is in the education of the individual that you are compatible with. Now, if you compatible, say for instance, is plethora of energies that you can have a conversation with, but you don't know anything about them. Well, that's gonna be any and everybody. To which I simply say, where y'all going? Um, wrong way. Um, I'm just a guy. Feel me? um, I'm off in a dead end alley, no outlet. Like ain't no reason to come back here except
Yeah,
me.
yeah. They
Hi.
trying to see what you up to,
Yeah.
nigga. They trying to see what you up to, nigga.
Nah. Shit. That threw me off. But yeah, it's a personal relationships are personal to people. I'll do you one better. People be like, I'm single, right? But that's a
Mm-hmm.
mantra, right? So I'm single,
Yes, it
single,
is.
single, single. But they'd be in a relationship and they'd be like, I'm dating this guy. It didn't work out
Mm-hmm.
because your
Mm-hmm.
overriding narrative is that you single. I
Yeah.
never been single. I've always been in a relationship. I remember being like 5, like I'm gonna be married. I
Yeah.
never really lost that. Like I believe in love stories and things of that nature. So as you grow up, you know what it's like in high school. You love women, right? Because you
Yep.
still got that romantic heart.
Love everything about
You
them.
love
Love
everything
everything about
about
them.
them. However, they not fucking with your broke, lame ass, right? Whatever the case may be, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe you popular, you might have good days, you might have bad days, but everybody is rating people, judging people, you name it. But
Mm-hmm.
nobody is doing the deeper psychological work of learning their partner day in and day out. but it's going to be hard to do that day in and day out if y'all meeting strangers, fucking them, and then trying to figure it out after. That's backwards. You done gave
But
them
you
everything.
can't even go that far. They can't even get that far, big homie, if they don't learn themselves first. Like if you can't stand yourself in the mirror and look at yourself in the mirror and be honest with yourself, then you learning another individual is a moot point. It's a moot point
I would
because you
say
can't
that,
even admit to yourself.
you got to get into them vibes though. You
Yeah,
gotta, because
yeah.
the idea of just kind of sitting with yourself and living in this vacuum is a conscious motif that, for the mere fact of you having a phone, somebody had to make that phone for you to have interconnection. Somebody had to build that. So our whole lives is built upon relationships, to which this concept that I really feel we need to get rid of I need to focus in on me. Well,
Mm-hmm.
there's no end to that. And you can be
No.
70 like, oh, I'm focusing in on me. I'm trying
Yeah,
to get
yeah,
my shit
yeah.
together. And it's like, no, you learn through building. You learn through
Yes.
judgment,
Connection.
connection, refinement. Sometimes I make mistakes. My wife shows me a lot of my ignorance, things that I can get
Mm-hmm.
better. Like I rely on relationships, man. People give me ideas. People give me support. You know, understand what I'm saying? I'm not
Mm-hmm.
the type to. I'll never be the type to say, "Oh yeah, I gotta find myself." I find myself through others. You feel me? Like,
Yeah, you have to because you recognize the interconnectedness. I know the interconnectedness. You know what I'm saying? But the average individual doesn't care about the interconnectedness. They like to cherry pick. You know what I'm saying? When they want to divulge certain information, and when they don't want to divulge certain information, when they want to hold certain shit in their back pocket, like, and that's the crux of what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're gonna get really down into it, if you can't be upfront and wanting to be upfront with another individual and to give yourself wholeheartedly to that situation, then what are you really doing it for? Angry comes.
oh man, yo,
Yo, this is not PG-13.
nah, this
Okay,
whole
this is
conversation was rated R, NC-17 rather. But yeah, man, angry come. The ancestors is really tired of that. They tired of humdrum sexual practices, man, and it's a lot of scam artists that'll have you on this sex magic and this tantric shit, but it's not even that either.
nope.
It's the
You
restoration,
got so many different levels before you even get there.
and that, but it's like it's not based on a result. It's the same way as I'm putting my left foot in front of my right foot. It's a natural response to wanting to move forward. So we may be psychologically ready to move forward within our spiritual modalities and spiritual practices, but there is no sexual practice, no sexual education, no sexual science, no sexual understanding that we can base our whole, you know, spiritual practice on. It's almost as if, and the ancestors kind of like, well, my ancestors, maybe not yours, they feel as though, how can we want to master this universe without the sexual knowledge? We like, because in sexual knowledge, in sexual refinement, in sex magic is everything.
I would really bored this shit.
Yeah.
Like really bored with the whole idea that motherfuckers is just trying to ejaculate all the time. Like literally, like this is all y'all got. Like we created this shit like millions of years ago, and this is as far as y'all got. Like y'all got to the corner store, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like literally, all y'all did was go to the corner store.
I mean, this whole shit changes if we collectively but we can take note from like the sexual orgies and things of that nature and understand what's happening. Now, if we are conscious people and we look at a sex orgy and we like that's nasty, well, you don't understand what it's actually bringing about. Anything that you
Mm-hmm.
see may look nasty, may look grotesque, and at a mundane level, it is. However, when you talk about portals, like, so say for instance, and not saying that everybody has to have sex with everybody, let's say like we have a group ritual and like it's couples, it's masculine, feminine polarity, but it's times 10. And we have an intention.
On some eyes wide shut type
Yeah,
shit.
but listen, we have an intention though. We have a real
Mm-hmm.
intention, and that intention gets reduced into a sigil, and we time it to the moon portal. Say it's an eclipse, and the sun and the
Mm-hmm.
moon conjuncts at 11:11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and everybody
Mm-hmm.
has their divine masculine instructions and the divine feminine have their instructions, and at that particular time the women are to focus in on the sigil as the men deliver multiple orgasmic energy. And we've been
Mm-hmm.
building and practicing up until the point of once it's time, all 10 divine masculine women, divine feminine women have orgasms. The men have orgasms, not ejaculations, and we all 20 of us focus in on that sigil.
Mm-hmm.
Then you will actually see things happen in a space that will blow your fucking mind. However, I've manifested homes through sex magic. I've manifested things through sex magic. I'm saying a collective understanding of sex without you thinking that is nasty, without you thinking that is gross. Everybody is on the level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a maturity with this shit. And ain't no ego in it. It's pure magic. Like we there to do a job, damn near. You feel me?
That's straight primordial energy right
Can't nobody fuck with that.
there. Mm-hmm.
So we all talk about they doing this and Biden and Trump, man. 10 times out of 10, y'all not up on y'all sex magic, and they are, and that's why y'all mad.
Mm-hmm.
Cause they'll get some shit
Mm-hmm.
popping right now. You think they be swinging and doing all types of stuff that we think is nasty and ew.
It's the same reason why you could look at half of the rumors that's going on around them motherfuckers and nothing happens to them, but you do some silly shit in the street and everybody you know find out about you.
Oh
Like
yeah,
it's that
yeah,
simple. It's that
yeah.
simple. It's that simple.
That's a fact.
Like you ever cheat on your John and then you think nobody know and the next thing you know everybody know. You know what I'm saying?
It's always
And I
what you
think
do in the dark
I
comes
think what
out in the
we
light type deal.
I think what we pointing to be right and exact, what we are pointing to is that there is a difference between selfish and selfless. And the majority of individuals partake in sex. They are looking for a personal gain out of it as opposed to a collective creation out of it.
Or a
And that
magical
person,
intention. Like, yeah, exactly.
yeah,
That's the
that
thing.
that personal gain has gotten niggas nowhere.
It's
It's
gotten
gotten y'all
us
niggas nowhere.
no, back to your point, it's gotten us angry at each other because we having
Mm-hmm.
senseless and mindless sex and there's no
Mm-hmm.
intention. And even if you're doing sex magic to manifest a car or manifest a nice house, you still missing the fucking point. So with
Yep.
that being said, yeah, I mean, I guess we could wrap that up. I just kind of wanted to touch on that. I think that this is a larger topic that we can
Absolutely.
always dive deep in, but it was good to build with you and have somebody bounce these ideas back. Like,
Absolutely. Absolutely. You gave me a lot of food for thought.
yeah.
You added a lot of shit to my repertoire, so I appreciate
And I
that.
gotta fucking listen to this again and really pick up on some things, man, because there's a lot of judgment going on. And one of the points I don't think I made was like, Y'all can't be looking at like a hoe and thinking that it's all about sex. It's all about relating. It's all about love.
Relating. Hmm.
So a prostitute,
You don't
and it
know.
don't have
You don't
nothing to do
know.
with
You don't know the
looks.
life you don't know the life that being had growing up. You don't know the misinformation that being had and had to encapsulate growing up. You don't know the family system or the environment that being had growing up. So the idea that you could stand on your porch and judge somebody for being a hoe, that shit is like the most insane shit I have ever heard in my life. That like the idea that you could judge somebody for doing that, but you want to be a hoe in secret. You know, like like if anything, you should be praising that being because that being got everything out in the open, and you are scared to be out in the open.
And that's the magic.
That's what I
That's the
say.
magic right there. Transparency. And transparency, unfortunately or fortunately, can't be faked. And that's where a lot of spiritual people is going, hit a road, because when you transparent and open, all of the doors and all of the portals is open as well. All of your ancestors can easily deal with you. You can always have these particular downloads because your lower chakra isn't locked. Your lower
Mm-hmm.
chakra is open. Now, sex locks down the lower chakra. It's the most prevalent used drug down here. Sex,
Mm-hmm.
relationships, marriage, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with that, because even biologically, it might speak to that's the right and exact thing. However,
Mm-hmm.
within those relationships, there needs to be more love. There needs to be more relating. And I'm not talking to women when I say this, right? Because women ain't got nothing to do with this when it comes to loving and relating, because the reason that our fire come down as men is because we ejaculate too often and too much, to which if we had
Mm-hmm.
sexual relations with our wives without ejaculating, that feeling and that passion and whatever we felt initially won't disappear, right? So that's really
I
a
say.
call out to the men
I
to
say.
really
I say.
balance that fire, kindle that fire, and maintain that relationship, because it's necessary. And then the education and the high advanced sex magic, that's to come. So we about to tap in and get into some
And
deeper channels.
only thing I add to the end of that is y'all niggas need to get out of y'all European indoctrinated fucking mindset and programming. Like y'all still on that European mindset shit. So like just drop all of the fucking preconceived notions and judgments, bro, and like take it for as it is. Look for the deeper truths. That's all I add.
Yeah, ask questions, educate yourself, learn about your lower self. You understand? Don't follow your lower self, because it'll lead you astray. But with that being said, it's the Hood Mystic representing hoodmystic.com. My nigga Dark Serpent on the chat with me. We'll do this again very soon. Peace to the family.
Absolutely.